Amanda sat on the middle and started talking. Meanwhile, Chago got two big plastic bags from the trunk. As soon as one of the plastic bags landed on the clearing, I recognized what was moving inside the trunk. A live chicken was in one of the bags. Fabio immediately asked him, "What the hell? Are you going to kill it?" "Yes, and we will need its blood. We will test a summoning called Ganigm." Note: it's against my current philosophy to describe the exact ritual, but I'll do my best for the story to make sense. So Chago started making two circles using chalk, one in the middle of the clearing, and another near the trees. In the circle of the middle he made a massive pentagram. He made some symbols in the other circle. Placed a small altar near one of the circles. He called me for helping him with the chicken. We decapitated the chicken and drained the blood in a vial. We also had to pour gas on the dead animal and set it on fire. Then we tied a small rope at one of the feet of the chicken and tied the thing to one of the trees, in a way that the chicken was still on the ground. The vial with the blood was placed on the altar along with some other stuff. By this point it was already dark, but we had flashlights and an oil lamp that Chago had. We turned off all the flashlights, let only the oil lamp on, and we all sat on the middle of the circle with the pentagram. We all held hands and Chago started chanting an incantation. The enchantment was going louder at each repetition. Until all of a sudden, everything went silent in the wind, and the crickets also stopped. It's like someone just turned the volume of the world down. I started getting chills down my spine. The air got colder, and I could see my breath. Suddenly a noise. A dragging noise like something was being dragged on the dirt. Horrified, we all looked at the carcass of the chicken. It was moving. Trying to stand up but quickly falling back to the ground, and slowly repeating this process. I could feel Amanda's hand shaking and Fabio's hand sweating. I was shaking too. Chago had a wide-eyed expression, like he couldn't believe it himself. Chago told us before never to leave the circle, so we had to resist the urge to just run away. Amanda started crying, and quietly asked Chago, "Please, can you make it stop?" "I can't, it says in the book that it will stop by itself." So I asked him, "How long will it last?" "It doesn't say." Some moments later, what looked like an eternity for me, the chicken stopped moving. I was still feeling cold, like there was something wrong. The air was still and there was no noise. Suddenly, a small pure white rabbit approaches the circle. Amanda started crying more loudly as soon as she sees it. The rabbit was circling around the circle, never getting inside it. I was at my limit there. Looking at it felt really wrong, like something was pushing my eyes away from the rabbit. Then Amanda said, "It's not a rabbit." Fabio immediately asked her, "What do you mean?" Amanda just shook her head, sobbing. Then the rabbit got away slowly. The feeling of dread was still strong. No noises around and still really cold. We started hearing thumping noises near the clearing. Then a horse showed up at the edge of the clearing. When I looked at it, my heart dropped. I couldn't see its eyes. It wasn't like it had no eyes, but like there was some darkness that wouldn't let me see them. Amanda was with her head down, eyes closed. When she finally looked at it, she immediately released Chago's hand and covered her mouth. She then fell to the ground and started shaking violently. Me and Fabio tried to get her, and Chago said, "Don't leave the circle." Fortunately, Amanda did not get out of the circle and we could restrain her. She finally stopped shaking, but was unconscious. We looked and the horse was still there. It didn't move at all, even with the commotion. It was there, just looking at us. After some time it finally turned and went away. Some time passed, and Amanda woke up and started crying again. The air started getting warmer, and soon the crickets started making noise again. Chago finally said, "I think it's safe." We stood up, and after salting ourselves we ran to the car. It was around 4 in the morning already. We all slept in Fabio's place that night, since no one really wanted to be alone. Amanda later told us that the rabbit for her was just a rabbit corpse, with its neck broken, and very wounded. And the horse, she said she didn't see a regular horse, but a heavily wounded one, with red glowing eyes. And then she passed out. After that, Chago stopped hanging out with us. I started having heavy nightmares, in which I would wake up screaming. Fast forward 2 months. Having heavy nightmares after last time. Started sleeping less and less. Barely talked to anyone for a while. That experience traumatized me for real. Stopped studying. Stopped working out. Started falling into depression. One day doorbell rings. It's Amanda and Fabio. They said I disappeared from the gym. Explain them why. They said they had the same problem, and the only solution they found was joining the Amanda religion. I disliked the idea at first. But after thinking a bit, I agreed to go to an open session the next day. That night I had the worst nightmare of my whole life. Wake up screaming. Didn't sleep anymore. At the start of the next night I went to the place Amanda sent me. Arriving there, it was a house at the outskirts of the city, small house, but with a huge wall around it. When I get in, half of the area of the house is only a landfill. There were a lot of chairs disposed in a big circle, with a big wooden chair at one of the sides of the circle. The place was littered with candles and it smelled as burning wax. Amanda and Fabio greeted me at the entrance. I sat in one of the chairs, and observed. The smell of wax, the night and the candles gave me flashbacks from what happened. Stood up and went to the bathroom. Started having a panic attack. Spent the next hour alone in the bathroom, vomiting from sheer panic. Fabio then came through the door. "Anan, are you okay?" "I'm not." "Anan, there is someone I really want you to meet. I think I want to go home." "Anan, please, give it a chance." I finally got out from the bathroom, and went back to the area. Lots of people now sitting, all staring at me. At the main chair a small old man was sitting. As he sees me he immediately stands up using a wooden cane as support. "Anan, I was waiting for you." The man proceeds to gesture for me to come closer to him. Once close he started chanting stuff while passing his hand near me. He then opened his eyes, and his eyes were rolled back. Normally I would be really scared, but something was off. I wasn't feeling fear at all. The voice of the man got louder and louder as I closed my eyes. Then I fell unconscious. When I woke up, I was sitting on the ground, 5 people around me, including Amanda. "It's okay, Anan, it's going to be fine." I stood up, with my legs shaking. The old man was nowhere to be seen. I was feeling tired, had a horrible headache. I was taken home by Amanda and Fabio. They were avoiding to tell me what happened when I was unconscious. They dropped me home, and I went to sleep. That night was the first night in a long time I had no nightmares. Woke up feeling great. Went straight to the phone and called Amanda. She said it would be better if we talked in person. Amanda and Fabio arrived at my house at lunchtime. Apparently what happened was that the old man was doing a purification ritus. The worst part about it was told to me later. To make this purification ritual, the old man had to be possessed by an old spirit. I didn't know what to think. I ended up telling them that I needed to think for a bit. They understood and left me alone, but not before asking me to go there the next day. The next day I was there, despite being uncomfortable, and eventually I became a regular. Note: so, for better understanding of the next parts, you will need some information about Amanda and how it works. Some of the most relevant topics I will cover here. Amanda believes in God. Believes in the devil and its demons. There are 2 types of Amanda: white table or black table. Both have equal beliefs, the only difference being that the white table does good, and the black table does evil. Believes in exus. They are lesser entities that can bring messages from the other entities, but can also be lesser demons. A pass is a ritual in which dark energies are removed from a person. A descarigo discharge is a stronger form of purification of a person. It uses herbs and oils. A defumation is the act of using incense for purification of a place. Offerings are done as thanking or as a price for a spirit to do something. Ax is the energy that flows around us. to accelerate the flow, sacrifices are done. Sacrifices, chickens, lambs and rabbits, you name it. The bigger the sacrifices, the higher the flow of acts, enabling for greater entities to be summoned. Some people say that Amanda doesn't have sacrifices. That's bullshit. They say that because of the righteous prejudice against the religion. So, now that you are aware of the conceptual stuff, I will start covering only the major events that happened. Fast forward 3 more months. Started studying again. Started dating Amanda. Go to every encounter, eventually get used to the chanting and sacrifices. Started helping around, running some errands for the people. Had some minor experiences there, mostly people going there with lots of various problems, and going out feeling much better. The leader of the place started sending me, Amanda and 3 more people around, asking us to do defamations for people that asked, in their homes. We were called in a small farmhouse very far from the city. Upon arrival I recognized the kind of building it was. It was one of the old slave owner houses. These houses were famous for bearing a lot of negative energy around it, as torture was a constant around it. The house was big, too big for a family of only 3 people. Lots of empty closed-off rooms, some of them with a thick layer of dust on the floor and the old furniture that was there. The house had 3 floors. The family living there talked to us before letting us in. They were listening to whispers, and the noise of chains being dragged around, especially at night. The turning point to them was when the man of the family was allegedly pushed from the middle of the stairs. From that point on they tried to seek help, asked for a priest to bless the house, but it didn't work. We asked them to leave the house for the night, since we would be doing the defamation process. It was almost night when they left. We gathered the stuff we needed for the process and started the chanting, while shaking the incense branch. The house was so big that at the night we still didn't finish purifying the house. Back on the first floor I look at one of the long corridors of the house. One of the guys that came with us was staring pale and wide-eyed in the direction of one of the open doors. "What's wrong, dude?" I asked him, while approaching. As I walked to his side, I look at what he was staring. The lights were on in that room, and a wide glass window was right in the way of the door. On the other side of the window, illuminated by the light of the room, there was this thing. A small bipedal creature was staring back at us. It had a greenish coloration, like half-dried leaves. It had a wide face with lots of horns around it, some coming from the side of its face, some coming from the head. I felt a heavy feeling of dread when I looked at it. I screamed as loud as I could and bolted from there, pushing my colleague with me, releasing him from whatever trance he was in. When we were running towards the main room we could hear the voices and steps of our colleagues coming from upstairs. We met on the main room. The guy from the corridor went in the door direction until I held him and said, "It's outside. The thing is outside." The guy stopped. One of our colleagues' name was Andrew. He was the one with most experience from the 5 of us. Andrew asked, "What's wrong?" "We just seen the thing. It had horns." Andrew's eyes widen up. "Everyone upstairs, close all the doors and windows, and meet me at the main room from the 3rd floor." "What about the 1st floor?" asked Amanda. "Just leave it, go." We all rushed upstairs, the adrenaline now pumping hard. Closed all the windows and doors I could. Didn't try to take a good look outside as I was afraid of seeing that thing again. Got into the main room at the 3rd floor. Andrew was pouring